When turning left from a two-way street onto a one-way street, you should A. Turn into any lane. B. Turn into first lane. C. Turn into second lane. B. Turn into first lane. When making any turn, turn from the lane closest to the direction you wish to travel into the first available legal lane. On a turn from a two-way to a one-way street, this means you should turn into the first lane. Which of the following recommendations does not promote safe night driving? A. Keep your windshield clean. B. Be aware that tinted windows reduce visibility in the dark. C. Carry a flashlight in your vehicle. D. Look into the headlights of oncoming vehicles. D. Look into the headlights of oncoming vehicles. If you look into the headlights of an oncoming vehicle, the pupil of your eye will contract. After the oncoming vehicle has passed, there will be an interval of time during which the pupil must readjust to the less intense light. During this recovery period, you are virtually driving blind. This sign means A. Winding road ahead. B. Do not enter. C. Pedestrian crossing. A. Winding road ahead. This sign warns of a winding road ahead. When approaching a traffic signal displaying a steady yellow arrow, drivers A. Should merge into a lane in the direction of the arrow. B. Should slow to a stop, if it is safe to do so. C. May turn left after yielding to oncoming traffic and pedestrians. D. Have the right of way and may expect oncoming traffic to stop for them. B. Should slow to a stop, if it is safe to do so. A steady yellow arrow indicates that a red arrow is about to appear. Stop unless you are already within the intersection.
Want to ace your DMV test? Click on the link below and get your guaranteed cheat sheet.
There is no crosswalk and you see a pedestrian crossing your lane ahead. You should A. Make eye contact with and then pass the pedestrian. B. Slow down as you pass the pedestrian. C. Stop and let the pedestrian finish crossing the street. C. Stop and let the pedestrian finish crossing the street. At an intersection where traffic is not controlled by traffic signal lights, drivers are required to yield the right of way to pedestrians within any crosswalk, marked or unmarked. Even if there is no crosswalk, yield to the pedestrian. A steady red arrow displayed on a traffic light means A. Drivers cannot turn in the indicated direction. B. Drivers may turn in the indicated direction after coming to a complete stop. C. Drivers may turn in the indicated direction. A. Drivers cannot turn in the indicated direction. If a traffic signal is displaying a steady red arrow, traffic in the indicated lane may not proceed in the direction shown by the arrow. Drivers must come to a full stop and wait for a green signal to proceed. What is the meaning of this sign? A. The traffic signal ahead is displaying a red light. B. The traffic signal ahead is broken. C. The traffic signal ahead is displaying a green light. D. There is a traffic signal ahead. D. There is a traffic signal ahead. This sign indicates that there is a traffic signal at the intersection ahead. When driving under snowy or icy conditions. A. It is safe to use your cruise control. B. Make speed and directional changes more gradually than you would otherwise. C. Drive as you would under normal conditions. B. Make speed and directional changes more gradually than you would otherwise. When driving under snowy or icy conditions, you should make speed and directional changes gradually. Never use cruise control when driving on snow or ice because your tires may lose contact with the road and you will lose control of your vehicle. If a green arrow turns into a solid green light, you A. May still turn, but you must yield to oncoming traffic. B. May no longer turn and must proceed straight. C. Still have the right of way to turn. D. No longer have to turn in the direction that the arrow indicated. A. May still turn, but you must yield to oncoming traffic. If a green arrow turns into a solid green light, you may still turn in the direction that the arrow was pointing, but you must first yield to pedestrians and oncoming traffic. A "no stopping" sign means that, unless directed to do so by a police officer, you may stop only. A. Long enough to unload packages. B. To avoid conflict with other traffic. C. To discharge passengers. D. For less than 5 minutes. B. To avoid conflict with other traffic. A "no stopping" sign means you can only stop to obey a traffic signal, to obey a police officer, or to prevent a conflict with another vehicle. Where is it safe to pass another vehicle? A. Within an intersection where there are no oncoming vehicles. B. Wherever signs and/or pavement markings permit passing. C. Within a curve where there are no oncoming vehicles. B. Wherever signs and/or pavement markings permit passing. Never pass within intersections or at other intersecting points, such as parking lot entrances and alleyways. Anytime your view is blocked by a curve or a hill, you should stay in your lane and assume that there is an oncoming vehicle just out of sight. Wherever signs and/or pavement markings permit passing other vehicles, you will have to determine whether or not you have enough space to pass in a safe manner. If it is necessary to make an emergency stop while driving on an interstate, you should A. Sound your horn at passing cars to get their attention. B. Get out of your vehicle and flag down the first vehicle that passes. C. Pull off the road, turn on your emergency flashers, and stay in your vehicle, if you can. C. Pull off the road, turn on your emergency flashers, and stay in your vehicle, if you can. If you must stop on the shoulder of the interstate or highway, turn on your emergency flashers to warn other drivers and stay inside your vehicle, if you can. The extremely high speed of traffic makes standing or walking along an interstate highway very dangerous. Downward-facing triangular signs. A. Indicate school zones. B. Tell drivers to yield. C. Indicate construction zones. D. Indicate railroad crossings. B. Tell drivers to yield. Downward-facing triangular signs usually indicate that drivers should yield. Once the road is clear of traffic or pedestrians and it is safe to do so, drivers may proceed. You are stopped in a line of vehicles waiting at a stop sign. If there is no cross traffic after the vehicles ahead have passed through the intersection, you A. May proceed through the intersection without stopping again. B. Must stop again at the stop sign or stop line before proceeding. C. May slowly roll past the stop sign. D. May follow the vehicle directly ahead of you without stopping. B. Must stop again at the stop sign or stop line before proceeding. You must always bring your vehicle to a complete stop and yield to approaching traffic before proceeding past a stop sign. Don't feel pressured by surrounding traffic to avoid making a complete stop. To check your blind spot before changing lanes. A. Look into the left side mirror. B. Look into the right side mirror. C. Look into the rearview mirror. D. Look over your shoulder in the direction you plan to move. D. Look over your shoulder in the direction you plan to move. To check your blind spot before changing lanes, you should look over your shoulder in the direction that you plan to move. Give the right of way to any pedestrian who is A. In a marked crosswalk. B. In any crosswalk or intersection. C. Crossing any street. C. Crossing any street. Drivers must yield the right of way to pedestrians who are crossing the street in any marked or unmarked crosswalk. In the interest of safety, drivers should yield the right of way to people crossing any street. When a school bus is stopped ahead on your side of the road with its red lights flashing, you must A. Slow to a speed no faster than 10 miles per hour. B. Stop until the lights stop flashing. C. Change lanes and pass cautiously. B. Stop until the lights stop flashing. The flashing overhead lights and stop arm on a school bus will be activated when the bus is stopped to load or unload students. If approaching a bus using these signals, you may not proceed until the red lights have stopped flashing and the stop arm has been retracted. Never pass a school bus that is dropping off or picking up students. You may cross double yellow lines to pass another vehicle if the A. Vehicle in front of you moves to the right to let you pass. B. Yellow line next to your side of the road is broken. C. Yellow line next to the opposite side of the road is broken. B. Yellow line next to your side of the road is broken. A broken yellow line in the center of the road indicates that traffic next to the broken yellow line may pass, if it is safe to do so. What happens if you drink alcohol while taking prescription or over-the-counter medicine? A. The medicine reduces the effect of the alcohol. B. The alcohol will help the medicine cure a cold. C. The combination could multiply the effects of the alcohol or medicine. D. There is no effect because they are different substances. C. The combination could multiply the effects of the alcohol or medicine. Consuming alcohol and other drugs together can increase the impairing effects of both. For example, having one drink while you are also using a cold remedy could affect you as much as several drinks would when being consumed separately from any medications. Sudden wind gusts on highways. A. Generally affect only the movement of large vehicles. B. Only cause visibility problems. C. Can cause problems for all vehicles. C. Can cause problems for all vehicles. While it can create special problems for large vehicles, strong wind can cause problems for all drivers. Wind can lower visibility by blowing dirt and dust into the roadway, but it can sometimes also physically move a vehicle. When parallel parking between two cars, you should first A. Turn your wheels to the left. B. Turn your wheels to the right. C. Pull up even with the car in front of your desired parking space. D. Back slowly. C. Pull up even with the car in front of your desired parking space. After finding a parking space, checking traffic, and signaling, you should stop parallel to the vehicle directly ahead of your desired parking space before turning your wheel to park. What does this road sign mean? A. Slow down and prepare to stop if cars are approaching you. B. Come to a full stop and go when it is safe to do so. C. Proceed carefully through the intersection, not always stopping. D. Stop only for traffic on an intersecting road. B. Come to a full stop and go when it is safe to do so. A stop sign means that you must come to a full stop and yield the right of way to vehicles and pedestrians in or heading toward the intersection. Go again when it is safe. You are coming to a railroad crossing where the crossing signals are flashing. You should A. Stop and look for a train. B. Slow down and look for a train. C. Look for a train, then speed up. D. Do what the vehicle ahead of you does. A. Stop and look for a train. When approaching a railroad crossing, you must stop your vehicle no closer than 15 feet from the nearest rail if an installed electric or mechanical signal is giving warning of an approaching train. Be aware of other warning signs that may indicate an oncoming train, including seeing a lowered crossing gate or hearing an oncoming train. Before you change lanes, you should check your mirrors and A. Never look over your right shoulder. B. Always slow down in your traffic lane. C. Glance over your shoulder. C. Glance over your shoulder. Before changing lanes, it is very important to check behind you. You should look over your shoulder to ensure that you are not getting in the way of vehicles in the lane you want to enter. Before changing lanes, you should also ensure that no drivers are attempting to drive into the same spot from a different lane. How many alcoholic drinks does it take to affect your driving ability? A. 3. B. 2. C. 1. C. 1. It is not advisable to drive after drinking any amount of alcohol. Even a single drink will affect your ability to drive safely. A driver should A. Stare directly in front of their car. B. Only focus on the middle of the road. C. Watch beside, ahead, and to the rear of their car. C. Watch beside, ahead, and to the rear of their car. A driver should watch beside, ahead, and to the rear of their car. To be a good driver, you must know what is happening all around your vehicle. This road sign means A. Highway entrance ramp. B. Road widens. C. Right lane ends. C. Right lane ends. Warning signs provide notice to road users of a situation that might not be readily apparent and are usually yellow with black markings. This sign alerts drivers to the right lane ending and tells them to prepare for potential merging traffic. You are required to report an accident when there is fill in the blank worth of damage to anyone's property. A. $250. B. $500. C. $1,000. D. $1,500. C. $1,000. You must report an accident to a law enforcement agency if there is an injury, a death, or damage worth $1,000 or more to any one person's property. You must also report a crash if there is damage valuing $200 or more made to government property, such as signs and guardrails. How can you help prevent rear-end collisions? A. Avoid sudden stops. B. Before stopping, check your mirrors and blind spots for traffic. C. Release the gas pedal and let your vehicle slow before applying the brakes. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Stopping suddenly can make it difficult for drivers behind you to avoid a rear-end collision. When stopping, release the accelerator to allow your vehicle to slow. Press the brake pedal by applying steady pressure, activating your brake lights and causing the vehicle to stop smoothly. This sign means A. A left curve is ahead. B. A series of curves is ahead. C. An S curve is ahead. D. The road will be slippery when wet. D. The road will be slippery when wet. This sign warns that especially slippery conditions exist when the road is wet. When driving at night, you should A. Always use your high beams. B. Look directly at the headlights of an oncoming vehicle. C. Increase your following distance. C. Increase your following distance. Driving at night is more hazardous than daytime driving because the lowered visibility makes it difficult to judge speed, distances, and other potential hazards. Increase your following distance to help prevent a potential collision if the vehicle in front of you should stop abruptly. Use your headlights when driving at night, following the rules for proper usage of high beams and low beams. If you experience a tire blowout, A. Tap or pump the brakes. B. Slow down gradually and use your brakes lightly. C. Apply the brakes firmly and quickly. B. Slow down gradually and use your brakes lightly. If you experience a tire blowout, you should slow down gradually by taking your foot off of the accelerator. Don't apply the brakes until the vehicle has slowed considerably. This sign shows one type of A. Right turn. B. Intersection. C. Lane change. D. Road curve. B. Intersection. This sign indicates that a T intersection is ahead. Hydroplaning occurs when tires ride on a thin film of water instead of on the road. To prevent hydroplaning in wet weather, you should A. Put on your cruise control to maintain a constant speed. B. Slow down. C. Move to the shoulder of the road as soon as it starts to rain. B. Slow down. Hydroplaning is caused by driving too fast on a wet road. Slow down when driving on wet pavement to prevent hydroplaning. If someone is driving aggressively behind you, you should A. Try to get out of the aggressive driver's way. B. Stare at the driver as he or she is passing you. C. Speed up as he or she is passing you. D. Block the passing lane. A. Try to get out of the aggressive driver's way. If you encounter an aggressive driver, you should make every attempt to get out of their way. You should avoid making eye contact with a hostile driver. Challenging a hostile driver by speeding up may only make them angrier, thereby increasing their danger. This sign means A. Slow down if an emergency vehicle is approaching. B. Look both ways as you cross the intersection. C. Always come to a full stop at the intersection. D. Slow down and be prepared to stop if necessary. D. Slow down and be prepared to stop if necessary. Decrease your speed as you approach an intersection with a yield sign. Prepare to stop and yield the right of way to vehicles and pedestrians in the intersection or crossroad. You must come to a full stop at a yield sign if traffic conditions require it. This sign means A. Stop. B. Merge. C. Upcoming change in direction. A. Stop. An 8-sided red sign means, stop. Which of the following substances can affect the ability to drive? A. Tranquilizers, marijuana, and sedatives. B. Cough syrups and cold tablets containing codeine or antihistamines. C. All of the above. C. All of the above. A number of drugs can impair your ability to drive, including depressant medications like tranquilizers and sedatives, over-the-counter cough syrups, cold tablets, and allergy medications, which may contain impairing substances like alcohol, codeine, or antihistamines, and illegal drugs. This sign means A. Pedestrian crossing. B. Side road. C. Railroad ahead. A. Pedestrian crossing. This sign indicates that there is a pedestrian crosswalk. What does this road sign mean? A. Be ready to merge with traffic entering your lane. B. Always stop. C. Divided highway ahead. A. Be ready to merge with traffic entering your lane. Warning signs are usually yellow with black markings. This sign warns that merging traffic will be entering from the right, so drivers should prepare to allow the incoming traffic to safely merge. This is a fill in the blank sign. A. Stop. B. Wrong way. C. Yield. D. Do not enter. C. Yield. This triangular sign is a yield sign. When you see this sign, you must slow down to check for traffic and yield the right of way to pedestrians and approaching cross traffic. Stop only if it is necessary to do so. The sign with this shape and color is a fill in the blank sign. A. No passing zone. B. Wrong way. C. Railroad crossing. D. Stop. A. No passing zone. Pennant-shaped warning signs like this are only used to indicate a no passing zone. Consuming which of the following substances may impair your ability to drive safely and may result in an arrest for driving under the influence of intoxicants DUII? A. Beer, wine, and other liquor. B. Controlled substances, such as illegal drugs or prescription medicines. C. Inhalants, such as glue or paint. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. A wide variety of intoxicants can impair your ability to drive. These include all types of alcoholic beverages, illegal drugs, inhalants, and many legal medications, both prescription and over-the-counter. This sign means A. Pedestrians walking along the road ahead. B. Pedestrian crossing ahead. C. Pedestrians must not cross here. D. Be alert for construction workers on the road. B. Pedestrian crossing ahead. This sign indicates the presence of a pedestrian crossing. Drivers should be cautious when driving where pedestrians may be present. You may be able to identify an aggressive driver by A. Their erratic and improper lane changes. B. The number of passengers in their car. C. Their tendency to drive slowly. A. Their erratic and improper lane changes. While driving, you should remain aware of the actions of surrounding drivers. If you notice an aggressive driver nearby making erratic or improper lane changes, you should not challenge them. The safest way to handle an aggressive driver is to get out of their way. When approaching a traffic signal displaying a flashing yellow arrow, drivers A. should merge into a lane in the direction of the arrow. B. should come to a complete stop. C. may turn left after yielding to oncoming traffic and pedestrians. D. have the right of way and may expect oncoming traffic to stop for them. C. may turn left after yielding to oncoming traffic and pedestrians. A flashing yellow arrow indicates that left turns are allowed in the direction of the arrow. However, the oncoming traffic has a green light and you must yield to oncoming traffic and pedestrians. This road sign means A. Bicycle crossing. B. Stop only if other cars are approaching. C. Yield the right of way to pedestrians. A. Bicycle crossing. Warning signs are usually yellow with black markings. These signs alert drivers to areas where bicycles may be crossing. What is the minimum number of driving hours an applicant under age 18 must complete before applying for a probationary license? A. 50 hours total, including 10 at night. B. 40 hours total, including 10 at night. C. 30 hours total, including 10 at night. D. 20 hours total, including 10 at night. C. 30 hours total, including 10 at night. To obtain a probationary license, an applicant under the age of 18 must have accumulated 30 hours of behind-the-wheel driving experience. 10 of those hours must have been completed at night. As alcohol builds up in your blood, it A. slows down your reactions. B. makes you feel less confident. C. begins to metabolize itself more quickly. D. decreases the number of driving errors. A. slows down your reactions. As alcohol builds up in your system, it will slow your reactions, make you feel more confident, and cause you to make more errors. When you are merging onto the freeway, you should be driving A. at or near the speed of traffic on the freeway. B. 5 to 10 miles per hour slower than the speed of traffic on the freeway. C. the posted speed limit for freeway traffic. A. at or near the speed of traffic on the freeway. When merging onto a freeway, you should enter at or near the speed of traffic.